This is Conversations with Paycheck and Red, a weekly podcast with two good old boys talking about anything and everything that crosses their mind. You may not know what you're going to get with an episode of Paycheck and Red, but you sure know you don't want to miss it. So do what you got to do. Download the app, find the episodes online, and make sure that you don't miss 1 second of Conversations with Paycheck and Red.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back. This is Sunday Paycheck, and of course, as always, I'm with my boy Red.
What's up, party people?
What's going on, brother? So
quick, you almost forgot your lines, didn't you?
Dude, I'm on cloud nine, man. I'm over here celebrating Independence Day. So real quick, before we get started, I'm going to do a quick salute to the great U.S. of A. and its Day of Independence. Did y'all do anything special today?
Hell no. Spent the day without kids. That's about the only damn good thing to come out of the day.
How'd you manage that?
Oh, man. The oldest went with her boyfriend to celebrate the 4th of July. The younger two went with their friends, pool parties, fireworks and shit. Here I am.
Well, you know, in some countries, all that you just mentioned that your kids are out doing is strictly prohibited.
Well, it's a good damn thing I don't live in those countries, I mean.
Yeah, right. Aren't you gonna ask me about my day and if I celebrated
I was, if you let me get it out of my mouth so I can finish my own. How was your 4th of July today, Paycheck?
Well, it's similar to yours. I also did not have my kids today. They're with their mom. They're on their summer vacation up in your neck of the woods, kinda. They're up in South Carolina visiting some family with their mom. So, yeah, no fireworks, no barbecues, no swimming pools, none of that. However, I did purchase my very first motorcycle. And what better way to celebrate Independence Day than buying a Harley Davidson?
What does Harley Davidson and Independence Day have to do with one another? Did Thomas Jefferson ride off into the sunset after the Declaration of Independence on a motorcycle or something?
No, but I'm pretty sure Paul Revere rode a Harley Davidson telling everybody that the British is coming. Pretty sure.
He drove a Harley or a Honda?
I think. I'm pretty sure it was a Harley. You know, it's been a while since I've been in history class, but if memory serves me right, it was a Harley Davidson.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there, though. You know. So yeah, Independence Day. So shout out to America. I for one appreciate Independence Day because I've traveled the world and I've lived in other countries and I've experienced different cultures, and I will say I know the firsthand that we have it pretty good here, pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, freedom wasn't free, my friend.
That's it. So you wanna tell them what we're gonna be talking about today?
Yeah, I can if we're done talking about the 4th of July now.
Well, we could talk about my new Harley. Whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? It is pink and red. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I guess we could tell them what today's topic is. Today's topic is the afterlife. This is part 2 of part 3 of our conspiracy theory thing, but we just kind of segued into the afterlife. It doesn't have really anything to do with conspiracy theories, I don't guess, but we kind of left off with the last one about time traveling and human vibration and dimensions and different planes and all that. So I figured, why not talk about the afterlife and where we go when we die?
This is an interesting topic. Red and I don't see eye to eye. I mean, we do a little bit, but it's a good thing about
Opinions.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's a cool thing. That's a cool thing that I enjoy about our relationship is that we're best friends and we talk every day. But we don't necessarily agree on everything. We have our own opinions and whatnot. So that's pretty cool. So you want to start us off? I mean, you want to go ahead and jump on top of this one?
Well, I mean, I don't know how to exactly start off. I mean, like, when you take your last breath and you close your eyes forever, I mean, is that really? Do we spend eternity in complete darkness, or is that like just a jumping point to another dimension or another plane, if you will? Do we get to pick how we spend eternity, or is it predetermined? Are there angel wings and halos and devil horns and pitchforks involved here, or what?
Well, for the listeners, Red shared an interesting story with me, and I hope I'm not throwing you under the bus or it's too personal, whatever. But you shared an interesting story about your dad who is passed.
Uh-huh.
Is it okay if we go this direction for a little bit?
Sure, absolutely.
All right, so Red, we have many interesting conversations, and these episodes that we've had, with the conspiracy theories and stuff. This is something that Red and I talk about, often. I mean, we shoot the shit, we bullshit, we talk about dumb shit, but every now and then we talk about some pretty cool and interesting shit. And this was one of them, and he shared something with me about his dad. So what you want to? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just going to say that every now and then our conversations produce little golden eggs, and this was one of them.
Absolutely. So the reason this conversation got started is because, the reality is that we could attack this from different, many different angles. You have, opinions, biblically speaking, scientifically speaking. So we could actually attack this on many different levels, but we'll keep it short and sweet and simple. But I would like you to tell them the story that you told me in regards to your dad who has passed away. And I believe you said that this is one of the reasons why you believe what you believe?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we don't have to get into what you believe and what I believe and all that stuff, you know what I mean? But, yeah, dude, it'd be real cool if you could share your little story with our listeners.
Yeah. Well, my dad passed away October 18th, 2014 of cancer. And me and my dad were best friends, to say the least. And we spent a lot of time together. We worked together every day. We lived close to one another, so we seen one another every day. And we were kind of like two peas in a pod, I guess you could say. So it was a year or so, year and a half, 2 years maybe, after he had passed away, and I was missing him real bad. And I went to bed one night, and I was thinking about him, and I was just reminiscing on, jobs we used to work on, funny things he used to say and everything. And I didn't really necessarily plan on having a dream about him, but it just kind of happened that way, I guess, because he was the last thing I was thinking about before I went to sleep. But I fell asleep, and for lack of a better term, I woke up on my front porch of my house in South Carolina.
Okay, but in your dream.
In my dream, yes, that's what I said, for lack of a better word.
Okay.
So I woke up on my front porch of my house in South Carolina, and I seen my dad. But we live right next door to one another, so I seen my dad sitting on the porch across the yard, like he always did. And I threw my hand up and waved like I always did, and he motioned me to come on over to the porch with him. So I did. I walked over there, sat down, and he was, me and my dad used to have safety meetings together. So he was sparking up a joint, and that's something that me and my dad shared a lot, was, father-son time over a tater, if you will. So he sparks it up. We started just chit chatting, and it was almost like I had a realization at that exact moment that I was dreaming. And I told Paycheck before that I used to lucid dream a lot. And for those of you who don't know what lucid dreaming is, it's coming awake in your dream and realizing that you're dreaming and being able to control the dream. So I used to do that a lot, but at that point in time of the dream, I realized that I was sort of dreaming. I mean, I wasn't really completely aware, but I had a feeling because my dad was passed away. So that realization came to me, and I just told him, asked him how things were going, how he was. He reciprocated and asked me the same thing. I told him that, kids were growing up, paying the bills, working, whatever. But then he elaborates on how he was doing, and he informs me that he's doing okay, that he's working, that he's living life, that he's going about his everyday schedule like he did before he got sick and passed away. And the conversation went on for, I'm assuming in the dream, was about 30 minutes or so. And he tells me that it's time for him to go. Now, in the dream, when it's time for him to go, I'm thinking he has to go bid on a job or he's got to go to the store. But after I woke up, I realized that when he says he had to go, that he had to go, like wherever he was at. So, but my dad explained to me that he was living the same life that he was living before he passed away. He was going to work. He was coming home. My mom was fixing supper. Me and him would meet on the porch after dinner for dessert. He was seeing grandkids. He was living his exact life that he was living before he got sick and passed away. Wow. So that leads me to believe that, when we pass away, when we close our eyes for the last time and we take our last breath, I don't believe that that's it. I don't believe that we're destined for eternal darkness. But I believe that we get to choose our own heaven, if you will.
Yeah, and you make a good point. And I don't know if it's difficult for you to tell that story, but I personally enjoy that story. I mean, just the bond between a father and son, to be able to enjoy that moment is that's pretty badass. But you bring up a good point. And okay, so people talk about heaven. Most people have heard about heaven their whole lives. And so, what if you're right? What if heaven is not like this place up above that we go to? But what if heaven is what you create to be heaven? You know what I mean? Like if it's something that's like Red and I agree that there is an energy being or life source. It's energy. It's what's on the inside. Some people might call it our consciousness or whatever the case is. I mean, we can go so deep into that, but right. We do agree that the outer shell that goes to work every day and gets cuts and nicks, bruises, or whatever, is merely that, in that it's just an outer shell, and that inner being on the inside is who we truly are. So what if the reality is, like Red mentioned, that we get to choose what we consider to be heaven? And as, of course, as family men, as fathers, as parents, I could see how one would consider the life that he lived as a healthy father, husband, would be considered heaven to him.
Spending time with his grandkids and his children were probably the happiest moments of my dad's life. So I believe that was his heaven, is seeing his grandkids every day and spending time with his family and going to work and all that. So I believe that it's all in the life that we live. I mean, not everybody is going to get to pick, I don't think, their heaven. You know what I mean? Like, it's not really. I'm kind of biased on the fence. I'm kind of riding the fence on the whole thing, but maybe it's because the experience I had in my dream. But I mean, for instance, somebody like Charles Manson or Jeffrey Dahmer or some of the worst people in the world you can think of, do they get to pick their heaven, or is it predetermined for them? You know what I'm saying? Like, their heaven would be whatever that they like to do, you know what I mean, while they were alive. But I don't know how it works for the bad people of the world. You know what I mean? I can only speak on the good things and the good people of Earth. So that's where I'm riding the fence. I'm not really sure how it would all work, but that's just what I believe. I mean, we get to pick, or not really that we get to pick, but we get to live out our best moments and our happiest moments while we're alive. So
that's definitely an interesting way to look at it. I mean, we could also look at it, as biblically speaking, we could say that, okay, if you turned your life over to Jesus, and you accepted him as your Lord and Savior, when you die, you go to heaven, and you're judged by God, and if maybe you make it into heaven, maybe you don't. And then I've also read, I've come across some interesting research that would suggest that, and it would validate a little bit about what you were talking about. So this individual died. He didn't go to heaven, he didn't go to hell, but he felt his inner self, or he saw his inner being leave his body, and he actually went into space, and he come across a woman, a female, who was also an energy, or like but it was female, like he described her as a female, and she explained to him some interesting information, because of course he was curious. He just saw himself leave his body, and now he's floating he's literally in outer space. Dude, is that are you taking bong riffs right now?
I am.
Nice.
I am.
So he was asking questions, and she kind of validated what you said, that she told him that she is talking to him because she is actually his soulmate. They never met, they didn't have an opportunity to meet, I guess because they passed away, or whatever the situation was. I don't think they went too much into detail, but that's why she was talking to him. That's why their energy levels kind of connected, to one another. But she kind of said that, you get a choice. You get to be in this form as a life, an energy form, and you can go through different dimensions and different planets, and you can experience a whole new life, or you can go back to your human, a human being, not necessarily your being. So when you say a choice, that's some of the research that I've done did suggest that an individual, or a being, is given a choice. And I think you're right, because if I remember correctly, they were talking about energy level and auras and positive vibes, and so if you have positive vibes and you're a good person, and all that stuff, that you do get a choice on, do you want to go to the spiritual, dimensional, space deal, or do you want to go back to Earth in some sort of life form? But go ahead, I'm sorry.
So that would suggest being able to choose human or energy eternity. That would suggest reincarnation.
Yeah, and there's actually evidence. I mean, I don't know if it's factual evidence or not, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure we've all seen the photos of the Nicolas Cage back in the 20s or 30s or whenever it was.
Yeah.
Seen photos that look like Jay-Z from back in the 30s or the 50s or whenever it was. So but now that I'm trying not to put my conspiracy theorist hat on here. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the theme here. So go with it. I mean, that's the series here. So go with it if you want. I mean, we don't have any limits here. This is Paycheck and Rad. We talk about what we want to. So.
Yeah, well, with this particular topic, I really don't have a concrete opinion on because, you know, I have, you know, things that I've been taught, you know, through my life, you know, about Christianity and heaven and hell and everything, but I try to be a critical thinker. So for this episode, I'd like to free everything. Let's say I believe that when I pass away, I close my eyes for the last time, and a rainbow-colored unicorn comes down and starts talking to me, and you know, I get on his back, and you know, there's a doobie strapped to the saddle or something, so I blaze, and you know, I blow shotguns into his nostrils, you know, his little unicorn nostrils, you know what I mean? And I hold on to his horn, like it doesn't have like I don't ride horses, so I don't know the name of it. Yeah, that or the, you know, like the
reins.
Reins, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm pretty sure I hold on to his horn. That's how I'm envisioning it. Yeah, and we ride around and we just, you know, take hits off, you know, a doobie, and we just laugh and love, and you know, just fly all over the place. You know, we can go to Earth, we can go to Mars and Saturn.
So your heaven is getting stoned with a unicorn for eternity?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure his name's gonna be Fred, Joe. There's just something about, I believe my unicorn should be called Fred.
Fred.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know why.
That makes it totally believable.
Right? And now
Yeah.
if I said, shit, that little monster's name on Never Ending Story. Remember that?
Falcor?
Falcor, yeah. Ooh, that's the name, Falcor. That just seems cooler.
Yeah.
Falcor, the rainbow-colored unicorn. Getting high.
Yeah, I'm totally digging that. I could definitely do that.
Well, see, here's the interesting thing is that nobody knows. Nobody knows what happens. Nobody knows where we go. You know what I mean? I do believe what you said, that there's no way that we could just die and that be it, right?
I'd like to think not. This existence that we are living now, and the happiness and the pain and the crying and the laughter, the good and bad experience, that can't be it. You know what I mean? Like, because there's some people that live the greatest life. You know what I mean? They have happiness. They have, you know, money in some cases. They have everything they want, family-wise. You know, and then you got people that, you have murderers. You know, just bad people in general that never have anything. Homeless
real dicks.
Yeah, just homeless people. You know what I mean? Just two totally different ends of the spectrum. And when each of those two people close their eyes, that's it.
Yeah, they definitely do.
I don't believe
those types of people. Well, those types of people, they definitely don't deserve to be riding on Falcor.
Well, no, but I mean, what I'm saying is that can't be it. You know what I mean?
So in a perfect world, if it was Red's world, what happens to you when you pass away? What happened to your dad? You get to relive your whole life with your kids and shit?
Well, when I die, I'm done working, dog. I'm done. I ain't working another damn minute. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not working. So I kudos to Pops for keep right on slinging a paintbrush. But I ain't working no more for sure. I don't know.
As a truck driver, you know, I the way DOT is here on Earth, I can only imagine what this entity, this God, I can only imagine what kind of rules and regulations he's going to have.
Oh, dude, the interdimensional highways probably got some strict ass DOT rules, because there's a lot of people on it, and traffic's a bitch all the time. So.
You think there's lot lizards there?
Oh yeah, there's lot lizards everywhere.
I wonder if I instead of being in a big truck, I can be on Falcor, where you can just strap like trailers and shit to his ass.
Yeah, but do you really want to be, on Falcor or your semi-truck of choice with a trailer behind it, just counting eternal miles off? I mean, come on, that's not heaven.
Well, yeah, that depends if there's lot lizards there or not. You know what I mean? If there's a lot lizards, then maybe. How good does an orgasm feel here? I can only imagine.
All right, hold it back there, Falcor. Let's get it a little bit. Hold on, I've seen a little something back there on mile marker 151 back there. I'm gonna pull over. No, man.
That is some hot energy level.
Look at the size of her globe, dog. Look at that.
Yeah, look at them big auras.
Right. No, my afterlife would be, I want to see the light at the end of the tunnel like everybody does, like you hear about on TV. I want to see that shit. So
yeah, but in Poltergeist, the chick said stay away from the light.
See, I'm not vibing on Poltergeist though. I don't care about Carol Ann. We're talking about Red here. So
yeah, but what if you're supposed to stay away from the light and you're running at the light? Like, hey, hi.
Oh, can I go with you guys? Wait up. Hi, hey, wait up. Well, biblically speaking.
Right, so you go through the light. And what?
Oh man, there's so many ways to go with this. You know what I mean? What I want to do, what I want to spend eternity doing.
Yeah, listen, let's take the dad out of the picture. I know you're a great dad and you love your kids and everything. Let's just remove that. That way we can concentrate on what Red really wants.
Yeah, I'm going that way. Yeah, I know. I'm going that way. I'm just what I was getting ready to say is, can I go grocery shopping through my greatest memories and walk down aisle number 5 where I used to go when I was in high school, and I used to holler at girls every 5 minutes and go off with my buddies on the weekends, and then I run down aisle number 7 and I pick up some time with my dad real quick, then go down aisle number 4 real quick to the frozen food section, and maybe even throw a little heartache in there just to keep me level, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta have balance.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'd like to pick and choose a few times of my life and make my eternity episodes.
Well, I'm glad you didn't say Toys R Us, because you've been shit out of luck at this point.
Yeah. Well, that's I can't really think of one thing that I'd like to pick and do forever. I don't like anything that much. You know what I mean? Even if I was to go the dad route and say I wanted to spend eternity with my kids aren't even here right now because Daddy needed some quiet time. So, you know what I mean? Eternity with Daddy.
Yeah, they grew up and moved out for a reason.
Yeah. So, I think I'd like to pick and choose my eternity and create episodes of eternity with Red. You know what I mean? I don't think that I could pick one thing to do forever. I really don't.
Well, in honor of Independence Day, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that my heaven would be to be riding on my Harley, shooting my guns, smoking weed, and getting blowjays. I say blowjay because I'm trying to keep it PG-13.
Yeah.
That's pretty PG-13. Well, I don't know. You're taking bong rips over there, so I don't think we really have to keep it PG-13.
Yeah, but you gave it a name. Everybody else just heard a noise, and they can just use their imagination. So you gave it a name, so blowjay, I guess, would be acceptable. It's no different than a bong rip. You doing bong rips over there? Like I'm trying to hide from John Law over here. And,
yeah,
hey,
I'm
Red,
sorry.
what are you doing? Snooky's back there taking a shit.
Yeah, so if the FBI or the DEA you're listening, Red is not. I repeat, he is not over there taking bong rips. Right?
No, I've got a humidifier going.
So yeah, man, fucking Harley Davidson, shoot guns, Now listen, I say that, and I say that.
That kind of sounds like a Chuck Norris meme, really.
Well, it sounds like the stereotypical, you know, oh, look at me, I'm American, America. You know what I mean? And I've traveled the world quite a bit, so I mean, yeah, I'm patriotic and everything, and I know that sounds kind of crazy. You know what I mean? Stereotypical American.
It's kind of corny, actually.
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking about, you know, something that we could do for eternity. So, are you telling me that you could not see just riding on a motorcycle, shooting guns, and taking bong riffs for eternity? I mean, these are all the things that we do when the kids aren't around, when the wife ain't around. I mean, we might scratch on the balls a little bit, so let's throw that in there too. We can masturbate and you know, all that shit for eternity. So, riding a motorcycle, shooting guns, taking bong hits, and masturbating for eternity. That sounds like a pretty good fucking eternity.
Yeah, it does. But see, that would be just an episode of Red's Eternity. I wouldn't want to do that forever, man. I got so much other shit that I'd like to do. Or so many other things that I'd like to do forever. You know what I mean? Like that would be just an episode, man.
So what? You'd want to ride roller coasters and shit? I mean, you know what I mean? What
no, man. What? Some of my greatest times were in high school, cutting class and going to the beach with my surfboard and riding waves and smelling salt air and hollering at beach girls. You know what I mean?
That sounds so gnarly.
Dude, it's totally tubular, dude. Totally tubular. No, man.
So wait a minute. Wait. So, if you went to your quote-unquote heaven on your surfboard, riding bodacious waves, but crashed, like totally wiped out, dude.
No, dude.
Yeah, but what if? So you would spend eternity wiping out.
No, the stoke is an eternal wave. You ride in that tube forever, dude. You don't ever crash. That's a surfer's dream, is to have that never-ending tube, man, and ride forever. That's what that's about. It's living the stoke, man. See, that part I'd like to do. Going to parties, you know what I mean? When I was in high school, those are.
Yeah, but you're gonna have wet nuts for eternity. You're gonna have those board shorts with your dick all shriveled up, and you know, wet, salty nuts for eternity.
All right, well then, when I get tired of the soggy nut, then I switch the channel and do something else. That's the part. You just touched on it. You're right. I agree. To be able to turn the channel or go down a different aisle for eternity, swapping back and forth to the chicks, the green, the motorcycles, the guns, the waves. You know. So in reality and not reality, you know, pun intended here. Like I become a rock star when I die. You know what I'm saying? Like, I become a rock star. I get to live a rock star's life. Because part of that would be the time I spent playing live music in front of people.
Yeah, but wait. So you're talking about like a solo career?
No, I would kind of, you know, create a heavenly band, and we would rock out stadiums night after night after night till I got tired of it. I mean, I wouldn't do it by myself. I'd be stingy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then, I mean, that's a whole other conversation right there. Like, how would you get other people into your heaven? I mean, do you judge them?
No, you would create the band. Like, you would just whatever you think your band would be like. That's what it would be like. You don't really get
you're creating people now.
You don't get to pick heavenly bodies out of the thing and just, hey, you come with me real quick. You're going to spend a couple days with me real fast. Just come here. No.
You'd be like, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. On the drums is Moses. Everybody give it up. Everybody give Moses a round of applause over here.
Right. It would be like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got Abraham Lincoln on the bass and Genghis Khan on the guitar. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But no, I mean, I almost like a dream, Paycheck. Like, I don't get to pick like heavenly bodies that are running around the same plane that I am and get them to play in my band. You create that. That's what, you know, that's what I want, so that you create that in your heaven, I guess you could call it. You create that in your heaven. So my heaven would be being in a popular rock band or whatever that played sold out stadiums night after night after night. And they don't really have names. They're just in the background. The heaven is about me. You know what I mean? But they're just in the background playing and rocking out just like I am. But I mean, and that could be somebody. I mean, who knows? That could be somebody else's heaven. So a bass player might be looking for an episode to get in real quick, so he can live out one of his dreams. You know what I mean? So you never know, man.
So his heaven would be to play in a heavenly band with Red.
Well, no, just being a famous bass player or a famous drummer or a famous guitar player, whatever. So I mean, there's a million ways to look at it. You know what I mean? But that's just the way I'm interpreting it.
Well, let me play devil's advocate for a second. Let's totally switch directions and say that once you close your eyes for the last time and they put you in that box, you wake up in that box. Not your physical being waking up, but your internal being wakes up, and you just sit in that fucking box forever.
Okay, but scientifically speaking, celestial matter cannot be contained by wood and earth.
Ooh, you went deep there, didn't you? You went deep.
Yeah. So,
but listen, dude, we just talked about unicorns and fucking waves and all that shit. Okay. So humor me for a second. So,
all right, sorry.
So what?
Too many long rips, Paycheck. My bad.
Yeah. Well, now you just confused the fucking DEA. Now they don't know if you're taking long rips or not.
Yeah, that's his code for smoking a cigarette.
Yeah. So what if? I mean, how shitty would that be? I mean, what could you possibly do in a damn box? You know what I mean? For eternity.
You can play thumb war with yourself. You can masturbate. Just hope you don't have.
Because your physical being is dead.
Oh, right. So we're not talking about the meat suit. We're just talking about the celestial energy here.
Yeah, just that inner being is just laying in there in the box.
Oh man, that'd be boring.
Hello.
Because Red's claustrophobic, so that wouldn't work out very good.
Is there anybody out there?
I'd spend eternity in a panic attack. That would not be cool. that would not be cool because I'm claustrophobic a little bit. So if my meat suit's claustrophobic, chances are my celestial being is also claustrophobic. So that would not be cool for Red at all. But it would suck to close your eyes and take your last breath, and moments later you open up and you're pitch black dark box. Yeah, that would not be cool. So speaking religiously real quick, giving that the heavenly creator wants you to be happy, and he wants you to live a happy full life and spend eternity with him in his. Why would he let you spend eternity in that box? He'd want you to see a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I really don't think that spending eternity as a celestial entity would be even an option. I wouldn't think. I mean, why would a God that promotes happiness and eternity want you to spend that eternity in darkness?
Yeah, and that's usually, outside of the podcast and outside of the characters,
so you're a character. You're not really Paycheck right now. I mean, I'm not getting the real deal.
No, I mean, all kidding aside and all, shtick aside, I personally believe that there is a heaven, and I do believe that I'm going to be, I mean, the scripture says that heaven is going to ascend upon the earth. So, in a sense, all the things that we love doing and enjoy doing on earth, we will continue to do so. And that's loving and having fun and laughing and smiling and, all the things that all the positive things that goes on, in our lives is what we're going to continue to do.
Yeah, but what about
except bong rips? Except bong rips. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm excited to get there and find out. You know, I mean, that's gonna be one of my first questions. Is, you know, can we take bong rips here or what? You know?
Can we smoke here or no?
Yeah. If masturbation is prohibited, then I'm screwed.
Yeah. So, I mean, we still haven't touched on the people that don't do good in their meat suit. And they don't live that healthy, clean, loving, wonderful life. What happens to those people?
Well, again, it depends on how we attack it. If we're attacking it from a biblical sense, then, you know, they burn in hell for eternity. But if we're talking about scientifically, or let's say we go, you know, the direction that you were talking about, as far as, you know, we get to choose or whatever, then, you know, you can't really put a good person or bad person, you know.
I was just thinking about that as you were saying it. So everybody gets to choose their eternity, and everybody gets to live their version of heaven. Nobody suffers in the end. Is that what you're saying?
Well,
according to my theory, nobody suffers in the end.
Right. Well, because if you take God out of the picture, and if you take the whole biblical, you know, aspect out of it, you're really taking the good person and the bad person out of the equation, and we're talking about just, you know, individual energy beings. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you know, so unfortunately, if you take a pedophile, you know, and he dies, and he gets to choose to be pedophile for, you know, for eternity, you know.
See, so that's where there's a gray area in my theory. I want to believe that we all get to choose our own heaven. You know what I mean? I guess, like I said in the beginning of the episode, I guess I'm biased because of my experience with my dad, but there's got to be some kind of repercussion.
Yeah, I think the whole
aura
and the vibe thing. I think you're using the words bad and good, or good and evil, but, you know, I think it would be more of a vibe and energy level. You know, the whole thing. You know, you give out, you get what you give out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, so
absolutely.
So if we're talking about energies, we're talking about, you know, an energy frequency or an aura color or something like that. So if you just have a shitty color, you know, like your aura is black, you know, then you don't get to live in the lap of luxury. You know, you experience blackness, darkness. You know what I mean? So so yeah, I mean, either way you look at it, it's interesting and intriguing because there is no scientific evidence to back up anything that we just talked about.
Right. So it's almost like we are riding rainbow-colored unicorns taking bong rips this whole entire time.
Go Falcor.
Right.
But I tell you what, that motherfucker better not be flying. Oh no, I guess I can't say. I was gonna say intoxicated, but if we're taking bong hits, then, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say you were giving him bong rips at the beginning of the episode, but not
to other galaxies and shit like that.
Well, I mean, in either theory that we go with here, there's a light and a dark, a good and an evil, which represents each other. You know what I mean? So, I guess there's a common ground here that no matter which way we go, there's a lightness and a dark, a lightness and a darkness, good and bad. You know what I mean? So, I you know, personally speaking, I'm good to go either way. You know what I mean? Because I know where my heart is, I know where my mind is, and I know where my body's at. You know what I mean? So I like to be able to congeal those three things together and say that Red is going to spend eternity walking up and down the aisles of life, picking some of his greatest moments for eternity. So
in the cereal aisle?
Oh, dude, I'm definitely going down the cereal aisle. Yeah, I'm definitely going down the cereal aisle.
Dude, there is so much fireworks going on
I was getting ready to say that same exact thing. I'm hearing like mortars and cannons. It sounds like 1776 all over again.
So are you hearing it through my mic, or is that going on at your place too?
It's going on at my place as well. I'm surprised you haven't said anything about the background noise, because it sounds like it sounds like the Revolutionary War going on outside my house.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just saw Paul Revere ride by on his fucking Harley.
Holy shit.
Dude, I'd love to continue talking, but it's been a long day and my phone's at like 13% right now. So let's. Do you wanna keep going in this direction? I mean, I'm kind of digging this topic here.
Yeah, we can ride this wave for as long as you want to, bud.
Okay, so real quick before we close this up, I'm pretty sure we did choose a random winner for our Conversations with Paycheck and Red T-shirts, didn't we? That
we did. Yes, we did.
All right. Do you want to tell them, or you want me to tell them?
We'll let Paycheck do the honors.
All right. So we did this randomly. We took a few names, of the people that participated and have been involved in all the platforms that we're in, and we randomly chose one person, and that person is Brandon Lindsay.
Nice.
So Brandon, if you're listening, shoot us an address, and we'll get that shirt out to you ASAP. And I think we still have a few more shirts, don't we?
We do. Yep.
Okay. So if you're interested in having a Conversation with Paycheck and Red T-shirt, let us know. I think we're going to give at least one more out for free. So stay tuned. Hit us up on any other platforms that we're on. Let us know if you want one or not, and we'll get it out to you. And stay tuned. I know we've been a little slack. We've had a lot going on. Red and I, Red just got back from vacation. Him and I met for a little mini vacation in the middle of his vacation. So we're all getting back, to business as usual. So we will continue to keep these episodes going. And look, the truth is that number one, and I've been meaning to say this, over the past few episodes, but I know that the sound isn't as crisp and clear and perfect as it should be, but just hang in there. We're aware of it. We hear it too. So we're working on getting some new equipment. We're gonna make things, a little better. And we all have families and kids, so we're trying to schedule these episodes in the middle of all this chaos that Red and I are in the middle of. So just bear with us, stay tuned. We appreciate all the listeners and all the loyal listeners. There's a lot of you that have stuck with us, through all these episodes and giving us a lot of love on our social media. And we shout out to a bunch of the other podcasts. We do listen to you guys as well. So we appreciate it. Keep listening, and we'll keep coming back.
Yeah, and Brandon, if you are listening, we'll probably reach out to you also if you don't get a chance to listen to the episode as soon as we get off or whatever, but we will be reaching out to you. So you guys listen up for the next one. We're not really sure. We know the direction, but we're not sure the topic yet. So
feel free to reach out to us and let us know, if you want us to keep this in this direction, or if you have a topic, that kind of relates to these last couple of topics that we've been talking about. We'll keep it moving.
Yeah, we seem to be having more response on Instagram. So if you don't have an Instagram, or if you do and you don't follow us on Instagram, it's Paycheck and Red Podcast. And our Facebook is a barren wasteland. I mean, we get a few hits here and there, but if you have a Facebook, it's Paycheck and Red. Look it up. Twitter @Paycheck and Red. The email, questions, comments, concerns is paycheckandred@yahoo.com. So y'all stay tuned. It gets a whole lot weirder.
Yeah, to say the least. We haven't even begun yet.
No, it gets a whole lot weirder, I promise. So stay tuned. We will be back. And until next time.
That's it. See ya.
Later.